So, I found another thing to make a video about, and this is for all the new truck drivers out there. You know, whether you're going to get your CDL, you just got it, you know, or you've only been doing it for a couple months or maybe even a year. Something to pay attention to is what companies you should go to or look at to get your CDL in the first place. Now, there's a lot of good companies out there, and there's also some not so good companies out there. I'm not gonna name them, but y'all know who they are. So, like right now, beside me, I have Prime Truck. I have a Prime Truck on the other side of me. That blue truck right in front of me, the Kenworth, is P&S. You got Rail over there. And you got Knight over there. Now, those are all good companies to start with. I used to work for Rail. I went there when I had 2 years of experience. To be completely honest, that was a mistake for me because Rail is more geared towards brand new drivers getting the CDL. And they also know new drivers are going to make mistakes. So they treated me like I was a new driver, which I was not. They like to babysit, which is completely understandable for new drivers. You got to watch them closely. Make sure they know what they're doing. Make sure they're paying attention. And when they make a mistake, kind of get on them a little bit. Make sure they don't do it again, but I'll explain to them what to do next time. Prime, I've heard that they put 3 in a truck when they're training new students. That's only what I've heard. May or may not be true, but that's what I've heard. I've heard Swift is the same way. There again, I'm not necessarily gonna recommend Swift. Y'all heard Swift is kind of the joke of the trucking industry. I'm not putting them down or anything like that. It is what it is. And I'm sure there's some really, really good drivers that drive for Swift and have made a career there. But they're the joke of the industry. But to be completely honest, there's no superior company out there to go get your CDL with. They all have their flaws. There again, some worse than others, but you're gonna run into that no matter where you go. There's gonna be companies that you absolutely despise, and there's gonna be you're gonna find that one company that you absolutely love it there. You don't ever plan on leaving that company. Like me, I found a company I want to work for quite a long time. And I've also had my fair share of companies I realized I didn't want to work for, and it didn't work out for me there. And also, if you decide to leave a company, especially if it's your first company that you've ever worked for, don't leave on a bad note. Don't trash the truck, don't destroy the truck. Don't do something that would hinder you getting employed at your next company. Also, avoid accidents or incidents as much as you possibly can, because that looks bad on you. Can make it look like you're not a safe driver. And maybe you are a safe driver, but when they look and see how many incidents or accidents you've had, depending on the severity, that may hinder your employment eligibility. So always watch what you're doing. I know it's tedious a lot of times, but it'll save you from a lot of headache and a lot of trouble. And I've had my fair share of close calls. I've never had any accidents, no tickets, nothing like that driving, knock on wood. But after you do it for so long, it becomes a habit of constantly watching. Constantly watching your surroundings. It's also very, very easy to become complacent. I've done it. I've gotten complacent at times. It's just like, oh, I've done this 100 times. I'm not really worried about it this time. And then boom, you make a mistake, and now you're in trouble, and you got people yelling at you. Well, just try to be non-complacent as you possibly can. Another tip for these new drivers. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's called DOT inspections, and there's also a DOT Blitz Week back in May. I've avoided it the past 3 years since I've been driving, and I've gotten lucky. Last month, the end of the month, I got a level 2 DOT inspection. My first one ever in 3 years. I never had one until then. The officer was really nice, but I was also respectful to him. I wasn't an asshole. I also knew what everything was on my truck that he asked for. My license, my permit book. He checked all my lights, my fire extinguisher, my orange triangles. Make sure your fire extinguisher is properly secured and the bracket isn't broken or anything like that. Make sure your fire extinguisher is fully charged, because they do check that stuff. Make sure all your lights are working. They check that stuff. Your lights have to work on, every light, on your truck and trailer has to work. Make sure your airlines that go from the truck to the trailer, make sure they are not touching the catwalk. That's an easy one for them. They walk by your truck, and then they're like, oh, your airlines are touching the catwalk. Boom, violation. Make sure your license isn't expired. I just had to renew mine. I cut it pretty close. I renewed it on the 12th, and it was expired on the 16th of this month. So I was cutting it close, but it's the small things that will get you violations, and maybe not necessarily in trouble, but the goal is to not have any violations at all. And there's certain things that will automatically fail you on a DOT inspection. Like too many lights out, and stuff like that. If the officer asks you for certain material, like permit book, stuff like that, and you don't know where it is, or you start saying, hold on, I gotta go find that. That's gonna give them a reason to dig deeper and look more. Now, they cannot search your truck without a search warrant, because your truck is considered your home. They'd be like them coming to your house and just breaking down the door and busting in your house and be like, hey, we're gonna search your house. We're like, no, you actually can't. Gotta have a warrant for that. They are allowed to stand on the steps of your truck and look in. And if your truck is a dirty pigsty, they may not necessarily know you for that, but it's gonna give them a reason to check other things. They can open your hood. They will go through your truck with a microscope if they feel the need to do so. And you don't want that, trust me, because they will find something wrong with your truck or your trailer. They check your brakes to make sure they're adjusted properly. They can check your tire pressure on each tire. They can check all your lug nuts to make sure your lug nuts are all tight. They can check your airbags. All of that stuff. They can be real dickheads sometimes if they feel the need to be. But because I knew where everything was that he asked for, I was respectful to him. I didn't give him a reason to keep looking. He gave me my inspection report, told me I passed, and sent me on my merry way. And when you call your safety department, tell them that you just passed the DOT inspection, that makes you look good. And when you go to your next employer and they see that you have passing DOT inspections, that looks really good, because now they feel more confident in hiring you as a driver for their company, because obviously you have your shit together and you're always prepared. A lot of companies won't hire drivers if you're a slob, or if you don't have your shit together, or you're never prepared. Because a DOT inspection can happen at any point in time. Weigh stations. Make sure you're not overweight on any axle. Sometimes you can get away with a couple 100 pounds, stuff like that. But whenever you get loaded, go to a CAT scale. Make sure you're legal. If somebody tells you to just roll with it anyways, don't. You know, make sure it's right, make sure it's legal. Because they're not, whoever told you to just go ahead and go, knowing you're overweight, they're not the ones that are going to pay the fine. You are. Or the company is. And then you're going to get your ass chewed for it. So, you definitely don't want that. You know, and be willing to help other drivers. You know, I've had a couple instances where I've been parked for the night, and I've had somebody come ask me if I can help them slide their fifth wheel forward or backward. You know, because they need somebody to hold a flashlight and tell them, let them know when they are in the right hole. You know, stuff like that. Because when you're an asshole, you're gonna get treated poorly most of the time. But you know, just always be prepared, always be on your toes, always be looking. And when you get into these tight cities where they got super tight turns and there's a lot of traffic and there's cars parked on the street, just take a deep breath. You know, just watch where you're going. You know, if you have to wait for cars to move out of your way, do so. You know, just because you're in a big truck does not mean you can be Billy Badass and just push people out of your way. You know, let them move. If they don't want to move, okay, well then you might have to say something and ask them politely to move out of your way so you can safely do what you need to do. When you're backing into a parking spot at a tight truck stop, this truck stop, you know, is decently tight. You know, it's not horrible. I've been to far worse. But get out and look. Make sure there's nobody standing behind you or walking behind you when you're backing up. Now honk your horn, put it on your four ways, and you start backing up. You know, you get so far, stop, walk around the truck and the trailer, make sure there's nothing back there that you're gonna hit, and make sure you're not gonna hit the truck on either side of you, or even in front of you for that matter if it's a tight place. Because getting that 1 minute or 30 seconds or whatever that takes you to get out and walk around that truck or the trailer is a lot better than hitting somebody else's truck, because that will get you in trouble and you're gonna have a pissed off driver. He's gonna be probably gonna be yelling at you, probably gonna be pissed, especially if he's an owner operator with his own truck and pays his own bills for that truck. And a lot of companies have goal written on their mirrors. Get out and look. You know, not gonna lie, there's many times I haven't gotten out and looked. I've never hit nobody either. But, you know, it's always practice what you preach. You know, I do it most of the time, especially if it's dark outside. I'll get out and look 3-4 times if I have to. It doesn't matter. As long as I know I'm not gonna hit nobody else's truck or hit somebody else in general, then I know I'm safe. And you know, it's a peace of mind knowing you're parked for the night and you didn't hit nobody, or you didn't damage somebody else's property or your own company's property for that matter, because it all costs money if you damage something. So y'all keep that in mind. Well, I'm probably gonna head to bed here shortly. I'm getting tired. About an hour away from my pickup in the morning, and then I got a long day ahead of me tomorrow. But it is what it is, you know. Love the job most of the time. Some days are longer than others. Some days you feel like you just don't want to do it no more. But at the end of the day, it is all worth it. Believe me. If you start having doubts of whether or not you want to do it, you might want to think about that real hard. I mean, if you really don't want to do it no more, then don't. If you're not happy, then do something that will make you happy. But there's gonna be some really hard days, and there's gonna be days you just want to say screw it. I'm just gonna leave the truck and just go home and quit. Yeah, don't do that either. Don't just abandon your truck. That looks really bad on you also. I think this truck stop's pretty full for the night. There's that whole side over there. The truck's facing me is all reserved spaces. This back row is full. It's not reserved. That row up there is all full. All those trucks parked. See them? parked along the curb over there. That whole road was full down there. Well, some jackass will find a play, make a spot and block somebody in tonight, but yeah, never fails.